Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. For their Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Patsy Reddy, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Sir David Gascoigne.
Tēnei rā mātou tukuna tō mātou i me ki tō waroro kia tau mahu ko tō manakitana, tō koro wai awhina hoki. Ki runa hoki tēnei whare hoki, o tēnei hoki te kahurani hoki, i kāwana tirana hoki o Aotearoa. Ki tau mai nau ki tō manakitana i ona manauhiri ko tau mai nei ki moi tōna waro i hona mono. He tohi e nei rā tau i nā tahu, o te kuini hoki o Inarani, o tira o Aotearoa hoki o Iri Hāpiti. No reire i hona mono, koe tini o sika koe. Hāpina tau ki rātou ko hoki asu te wākaina. Kia taipai atu ki rātou kāri ko rātou whānau. Gloria ki toi no tapu. Āmen. Rea nā mai haramai rā kōtou. Ki mōrei te kāwana tēnarei tēnei rā. Ki tohuni a kōtou, me kōtou tōnua. Rea te mihi rui kā kōtou. Tēnā kōtou. Kia o tātou katoa.
E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o te motu e puihui nei. Tēnei aku mihi mahana ki a koutou. Kia ora tātou katoa. Nau mai haere mai rā ki te whare kāwana. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings to you all and welcome to Government House. I specifically acknowledge the Honourable Chris Hipkins, Minister of the Crown, Rachel Hayward, Deputy Secretary of the Cabinet, our kuia Te Rupawai Higgins, and our kaumātua he mana Erewera. Tēnā koutou. It's a great pleasure to host this investiture ceremony and bring together 17 honour recipients, along with their family and friends, to recognise the contributions they've made to our country. I appreciate that it's a difficult time for the family and friends of a recipient who's no longer with us. And thank you for coming along to honour his memory. As Governor-General, I have the authority and the privilege on behalf of Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of New Zealand, to hold an investiture for her and to confer honours to which each recipient is entitled. Ladies and gentlemen, as each one is honoured, I invite you to join me in thanking and congratulating them for their service to our country. Mr. Hewitt Humphrey will now summon the recipients and read a citation for each one.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Owen Mapp of Paraparaumu, for services to Māori carving and bone art. Owen Mapp played a key role in the revitalisation of Māori bone carving in the late 1960s and early 1970s. He's one of the few non-Japanese expert practitioners of Natsuke carving and was selected for inclusion in the contemporary Natsuke exhibition in Tokyo by His Imperial Highness Prince Takemoto. He was featured in the Te Papa touring exhibition Wales Tohora throughout the United States. He's been a guest tutor for the School of Applied Arts and Turnoff Museum in the Czech Republic. He's presented papers for the Worked Bone Research Group conferences in Austria and China. His work has been included in dozens of exhibitions and publications, both in New Zealand and internationally, as well as permanent connections at Te Papa Tongarewa and Auckland War Memorial Museum. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Andy Hamilton of Auckland for services to business. Andy Hamilton is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ice House, one of New Zealand's early business incubators. He's played an active role in supporting New Zealand businesses, and the Ice House's efforts have led to more than 16,000 new jobs being created by its customers. As CEO, he supported the founding of several organisations that have contributed to the business ecosystem, including the Velocity Entrepreneurship Challenge at the University of Auckland, Incubators New Zealand, Angel Association of New Zealand, and Ice Angels Investment Network. He's an active supporter of Young Enterprise Trust. Under Mr. Hamilton's leadership, Ice House has provided assistance to the Young Enterprise Scheme, which mentors students from across New Zealand and encourages them to participate in business development challenges. Mr. Russell Howie of Nelson for services to environmental resource management. Russell Howie has been involved with environmental resource management since the 1960s and is a commissioner of the Environment Court. He's written rules for granting the rights to use water, water classifications and consents. His National Water Conservation Document was introduced to Parliament as the basis of the Water and Soil Conservation Amendment Act 1981. He managed the Water Resources Council and developed a new consultative process for the Electricity Corporation of New Zealand's consent renewals. He settled a dispute between farmers and the Crown over the Maniapoto irrigation scheme. He oversaw the renewal of the Manapouri consents. He was project manager for the strengthening of the Matahina Dam and has been chairman of the Society of Large Dams and a member of several boards of inquiry. Ms. Di Lucas of Christchurch for services to conservation. Di Lucas has served as the chair of the Nature Heritage Fund, a technical advisory committee to the Minister of Conservation since its inception in 1990. During her tenure, the fund has achieved permanent protection of more than 340,000 hectares of land. She was a member of Ngā Whenua Rahui, a fund that assists with the protection of indigenous ecosystems on Māori-owned land. She served as a member of the New Zealand Conservation Authority. She was appointed to the New Zealand Environmental Council and to the Ministerial Committee to prepare the New Zealand Forest Policy. She's been heavily involved in land and water protection issues. Ms. Lucas has held a number of positions with the New Zealand Institute of Landscape Architects, including President and a Fellow of the Institute. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Pero Cameron of Queensland, Australia, for services to basketball. At the time this honour was awarded, Pero Cameron had played for the New Zealand national men's basketball team, the Tall Blacks, for 18 years and captained the team for the last decade. He had won 10 New Zealand National Basketball League championships, 9 as a player and 1 as a coach. He was named Outstanding Forward of the Year 5 times and Coach of the Year in his first year as head coach of the Wellington Saints in 2010. He played professionally in Malaysia, United Kingdom, Turkey, Iran and Australia. He represented New Zealand at 2 Olympic Games, Sydney 2000 and Athens 2004, and at 3 World Championship campaigns. He won a Spark Leadership Award in 2003 and was named Māori Sportsperson of the Year in 2002. In 2010, Mr. Cameron was recognised as one of the 40 movers and shapers of the Federation of International Basketball Associations, Oceania. This award is given to people who've made a significant contribution to the growth and development of basketball nationally and internationally. Dr. Rosemary Hipkins of Kapiti for services to science education. Rose Hipkins began her career as a secondary science and biology teacher. She moved to the New Zealand Council of Educational Research, where she was promoted to Chief Researcher. In this role, she's recognised the importance of communicating research findings in ways that support and help teachers to make a difference to student learning. She's advised government agencies, led national research projects, provided workshops across the country, written articles for teacher audiences, and worked with teachers within schools. Her work is widely published, and she's served on many editorial boards. Dr. Hipkins is frequently invited as a keynote speaker at national and international conferences. Mrs. Roberta Larriman of Cromwell for services to tourism and heritage preservation. Roberta Larriman has been a member and chair of the Otago Goldfields Heritage Trust, OGHT, and led the organisation of the annual cavalcade for many years. The cavalcade originated with the idea of recreating the gold rush to the Dunstan Clyde Alexandra goldfields in 1862, where more than 200 prospectors per day came over the Old Dunstan Trail along with the Cobb & Co coach. Mrs. Larriman has overseen the cavalcade's growth as an iconic New Zealand event and has remained involved with the OGHT as a part-time volunteer. She's a long-time volunteer with the Old Cromwell Town and has delivered Meals on Wheels in the community. Mrs. Cushla Pierce of Christchurch for services to Highland dancing. Cushla Pierce has been involved with Highland and national dancing for 50 years. She's president of the Piping and Dancing Association of New Zealand's Canterbury West Coast Centre. She helped instigate and continues to be involved in the Hororata Highland Games. She's a technical committee member of the New Zealand Academy of Highland and National Dancing and has presented courses and workshops through the Academy. She co-managed the team of New Zealand Academy dancers at the 2014 International Tattoo. Mrs. Pierce sits on the Council of the Scottish Society of New Zealand and is a senior tutor for the Society's dance classes. Ms. Fiona Samuel of Auckland for services to television and theatre. Fiona Samuel started her career as an actor and has since shifted her focus to script writing and directing. Her television dramas include The Marching Girls, Face Value, Home Movie, and Sunday theatre telemovies Piece of My Heart and Bliss. Her plays for theatre include The Wedding Party, Lashings of Whipped Cream, A Session with a Teenage Dominatrix, and Ghost Train, and she's made 3 short films. Her most recent television screenplay was Consent, the story of Louise Nicholas's fight for justice. She's focused on female-driven dramas and is an advocate of funding equity for women directors. Ms. Samuel is president of the New Zealand Writers Guild. The late Professor Emeritus Ivan Snook for services to education. The late Professor Emeritus Ivan Snook held several roles with the Department of Education at Massey University, including as Dean of Education. He published numerous books and major works, including The Ethical Teacher and Concepts of Indoctrination. He chaired a group at Massey University that commented on education policy from an informed research perspective. He authored reports on charter schools and the assessment of teacher quality. He was the foundation chair of the Massey University Human Ethics Committee. He was appointed to the Tertiary Education Advisory Committee and helped establish the Tertiary Education Commission. Professor Emeritus Snook helped found the Quality Public Education Coalition, which campaigns for public schooling and opposes moves to privatisation. His insignia will be received by Josie Snook. Ms. Kerry Jane Wilson of Cape Foulwind for services to seabird conservation. Kerry Jane Wilson taught ecology at Lincoln University for 23 years. She's worked in a volunteer capacity with seabird scientists in Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. She's published 3 books, including Flight of the Huia and West Coast Walking, a naturalist's guide to the West Coast. She's chair and scientist of the West Coast Penguin Trust, which oversees projects including protection of penguin colonies and seabird nesting sites, and seabird ecological research, advocacy and education. Ms. Wilson is a committee member of the Australasian Seabird Group and was Vice President of the Ornithological Society of New Zealand. She was ornithologist on the Australasian Antarctic Expedition in 2013-2014. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mr. Gerard Bullimore of Kumara for services to the community and sport. Gerard Bullimore chairs the Kumara Community Trust, which organises the annual coast-to-coast multi-sport event pre-race meal. He's a member and former chairperson of the Kumara Memorial Hall Committee. He was chairperson of the Kumara Sports Complex and remains a committee member. During his time as chairperson of the Kumara Softball Organisation, he was manager of representative teams for Kumara and Grey High School. He was involved with Kumara Rugby as junior advisory board representative and coached junior teams. Mr. Bullimore was property manager of Kumara Primary School and a member of the Kumara Volunteer Fire Brigade. Mrs. Margaret Campion of Whanganui for services to the community. Margaret Campion has been a key member of Alzheimer's Whanganui since 1989, serving much of this time as president. She's been involved with the National Council of Women in a range of roles and wrote a history of the Whanganui branch. She co-wrote The Road to Mangamahu, a history of the Whangaehu River Valley. She helped create a centenary booklet for Whanganui East School. She's active with Zonta and was president of the Zonta Club of Whanganui. She's been on the board of Hikurangi Rest Home and the Regional Museum and served on the Whanganui District Council. Mrs. Elizabeth Dickens of Auckland for services to the Girls Brigade. Elizabeth Dickens has been active in the New Zealand Girls Brigade for nearly 50 years. As volunteer leader, she's contributed to the well-being and development of many girls in the Waitakere community. She's been an important part of the national organisation, including overseeing the hosting of several Pacific regional conferences. She's now National Administrative Director, in which role she's helped the organisation develop and implement the Icons for Girls programme. She's worked with the board to create plans for the brigade's future. Mrs. Dickens played a key role in the 2017 Whānau Marae at Marsden Bay. Mr. Paul Gay of Invercargill for services to outdoor education. Paul Gay was the convener and chairman of the Deep Cove Hostel Committee and chairman of the Deep Cove Outdoor Education Trust. He's worked tirelessly to further the goals of the Trust, and in particular to ensure its financial success and wide uptake of the use of its facilities by schools and educators throughout Southland. The complex, which now houses a marine laboratory and accommodation, has seen approximately 120,000 children, parents and teachers stay, and has become an invaluable educational resource. Mr. Gay received the title of Honorary Trustee for Life and has continued to provide his support. Mr. Lindsay Kerr of Rangiora for services to sport. Lindsay Kerr is chairman of the Canterbury Country Cricket Association and has chaired its umpires committee. He was president of the Canterbury Regional Cricket Umpires Association. He's reported on sport for the Northern Outlook and News Talk ZB and has written histories of the Rangiora Cricket Club, the Canterbury Country Cricket Association and the Ruapuna motor race circuit. He's head commentator at the Christchurch circuit. He's been heavily involved with Southbrook Rugby Club and has coached for the Shirley Rugby Club and refereed with the Canterbury Rugby Referees Association. Mr. Kerr was president of the Rangiora Lions Club. Dr. Alan Young of Palmerston North for services to ethnic communities and dentistry. Alan Young was Vice President and President of the Manawatu Multicultural Council. He strengthened its financial position, oversaw the development of a new constitution, and promoted collaboration amongst ethnic groups in the region through activities and events. He was a member of the New Zealand Dental Association Central District's branch executive and served as president. He organised a free dentistry day through his Broadway dental clinic. He and his staff collaborated with the Smiles for the Pacific Clinic to conduct free dental services in Fiji. Dr. Young has been Vice President and President of the Manawatu Chinese Association. Your Excellency, the investiture is concluded.
Ladies and gentlemen, an investiture ceremony is the most important event that I hold on behalf of Her Majesty, the Queen of New Zealand. It allows me, as Governor-General, to recognise and thank an extraordinary group of people on behalf of all New Zealanders. By using their talents to make ours a better society, whether by service to their communities or by their leadership in diverse fields of endeavour, or their commitment to excellence in their own field of expertise, our recipients have set a fine example to others, encouraging them in their own endeavours. To the recipients, it's been a privilege to hear your stories today. You've demonstrated determination, commitment, and compassion in your daily lives. In your own way, each of you has helped to make New Zealand a better place. In some cases, your influence and the positive impact of your work has extended beyond our shores. Your achievements across a variety of fields bring to mind the sentiments expressed by the great humanitarian Albert Schweitzer when he said, "Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you will be successful." You're testament to that. Your contributions have enriched the cultural, social, and economic fabric of Aotearoa New Zealand. Please wear your insignia with pride, knowing that your communities appreciate and value your work and are inspired by your example. On behalf of the Queen of New Zealand and all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements and I thank you for your service to our country. Kia ora hui tātou katoa. Ladies and gentlemen, that almost brings to a close the formal part of our ceremony this afternoon. But before we break for refreshments, I wonder if you might stand and we'll sing our national anthem in Māori and in English. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.